Opinion. We are all Igbo. Olumide, Akpata. Welcome to the news. And please, subscribe to our channel. On Saturday, 18 March 2023, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, conducted the gubernatorial and state assembly elections to mark the second and concluding round of the 2023 elections. On that day, INEC, law enforcement agencies, and the Nigerian populace were presented with a golden opportunity to demonstrate to the rest of the world that below par showing on 25th February 2023, notwithstanding Nigerian democracy has come of age, at the end of the day, not only did we fail spectacularly in this regard, but more dangerously, the fragile unity of Nigerians has suffered a massive setback. For a country recently described by Farouk Barogi as a frail, imperfect patchwork of desperate nations that is perpetually on the brink of implosion on account of political and humanitarian stresses. What transpired on the 18th of March 2023, particularly in Lagos State, was all very predictable and therefore preventable. All hands should have been on deck to avoid a Brazil debacle that we all witness. Regrettably, the critical stakeholders, whether by their acts or omissions, conspired to do the exact opposite, and the process set a precedent that might make a generation to reverse. The first sign that all was not well on the day, came from Frank, my driver, who hails from Onitsha in Delta State, who called me to tell me in an emotion-laden voice that clearly he was not a Nigerian, having been prevented in his battle area of Lagos State from exercising his franchise because he was Igbo. Another call that came was from Bernard, the lawyer from a mentee of mine who is from Gakim in Cross River State, and he also resided in the Lekki Aja Axis. He too was unable to vote at his polling unit, where a police officer pointedly asked him to go home as his safety could not be guaranteed. Unfortunately, these two were not the exception, but were representative of the experience of a significant number of Nigerians, especially from the southeast and south-south geopolitical zones, who were actually disenfranchised on account of their ethnic origin. What made the situation worse that we should have seen it coming? In the days following the announcement of the presidential election results in Lagos State, where the president-elect Asiwaju Bola Tinubu suffered a shocking defeat at the hands of the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. P2B, it first started as a rumor that there was an institutional strategy to disenfranchise non-indigens during the gubernatorial election in the state. Predictably, the Igbos were once again the scapegoats, 8 years after they were asked to jump into the Lagos Lagoon. Things soon assumed a dangerous dimension when a few days to the election, Mr. Musalenyo Akinsanya, more widely known as his moniker, Ms. MC Oluomo, the chairman of the Lagos State Parks Management Committee, was caught in a now viral video clip issuing threats to one Iyachukudi and other Igbo residents in Lagos State not to bother coming to the polls if they were not going to vote for the candidate of the ruling All Progressive Congress APC and the current governor of Lagos State, His Excellency Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Incredulously, when asked on channel television to comment on his unwholesome development, the Nigerian police spokesman Muyiwa Adejobi urged Nigerians to view the comments of the MC Oluomo as a joke. It was under this atmosphere that neutrals found it difficult to believe that the timing of and the wide publicity accorded to the dreaded traditional Oro Festival, which was held a couple of days before the election and was concluded on the morning of the election, was a mere coincidence. Little wonder the election in Lagos State was characterized by voter intimidation and suppression, ethnic profiling and ethnic-related violence targeted in the main against Igbos. Ethnic champions were seen boldly parading the streets of Lagos, warning people who intended to vote against the All Progressive Congress to stay away from the polling units and all of this and the full glare of the officers of the Nigerian police. The various new media platforms are awash with videos of election-related conflicts. Some resulted in fatalities that were triggered in the main by the implementation of what I have already described as an institutional strategy to disenfranchise non-Yoruba residents of Lagos, which said strategy was comprehensively executed with voters being profiled based on what criteria such as skin color and those who looked Igbo, including ironically some Yorubas and indigenous Lagosians, were denied the right to vote for the candidates of their choice. Indeed, the U.S. Embassy in Nigeria, in a post-election publication, noted as follows the use of ethnically charged rhetoric before, during, and after the gubernatorial election in Lagos was particularly concerning. For at least 48 hours after the elections, I remained traumatized by the experience as it dawned on me that we, the non-Yorubas living in Lagos, are all Igbo. Indeed, all through the period, social media was awash with posts and videos from not a few Yorubas who repeatedly asked why non-Indians of Lagos State acts, especially Igbos, were getting involved in the political affairs of the state, wondering what at stake in the electoral process in Lagos was. With little or no regard for a constitutional guaranteed right to move about freely in Nigeria and to vote for candidates of our choice and our contribution to the economic development of Lagos State in particular and Nigeria in general. In truth, I was not entirely disappointed by the roles played by Ntoloma and his ilk. I was also not disheartened by the attitude of Iya Basira frying akara in front of the Iyanova shopping complex, who has been brainwashed into believing that the Igbo man or woman is a worst enemy. Even former Minister Femi Fani-Kayode did not surprise me when as usual he began to spew forth his ethnically laced vitriol against the Igbos. I must however confess that I was slightly taken aback by the utterances of the spokesman of the Bola Tinubu Presidential Campaign Council, Bayo Onanaga, who only a few years ago visited the Kigali Genocide Memorial in Rwanda while suing for humanity to live together in peace and love, recommended the museum as a bucket list item for ethnic champions in Nigeria. His sudden vote phase and resort to incendiary ethnic rhetoric during the elections really did not take the cake, and when he was called out for ethnic slurs he employed against the Igbos, he doubled down, stating that he owed no one any apologies. To date, we do not know that the Bola Tinubu Presidential Campaign Council, or indeed the President-elect, has done anything to distance themselves from this individual. But really, I was neither surprised nor was I disappointed by the likes of MC Oluomo, Iya Basira, FFK, and Bayo Onanaga, as my expectations, where they and their ilk are concerned, were understandably quite low. What aggravated matters for me, however, was that I did not see the expected indignation and widespread condemnation from enough of my friends from the Southwest, some of whom I have known for more than 4 decades, or from the dozens of WhatsApp groups that I belong to, indeed, including lawyers groups. Instead, my well-educated, well-exposed and widely traveled friends, who are often quick to condemn instances of racism and other forms of discrimination abroad, resorted to false equivalents and numbers of flimsy excuses to justify this travesty, this tragedy. We can go on and on and on. You see this matter? This matter. A lot of people are still amazed by the kind of people they call friends. Yes, if you don't know, this particular election, we opened a lot of people's eyes to people they call friends. Their IQ, their level of their thinking, the way they think, the way they do things. You don't make some people, they look them, say, I'm not sure, say this person, and the person who I know. Alright, on this note, we have come to the end of the news, so thank you for tuning in to listen.